This episode contains information of a graphic matter that may not be suitable for some viewers and no persons under the age of 18. Viewer discretion is advised. All information in this program is known to be accurate at the time of recording. Any commentary by the host is for discussion purposes only. Anyone labeled a person of interest by the host or family has not been charged with a crime. All suspects charged with crimes related or unrelated to a case covered are innocent until proven guilty in a court of law. Opinions and views expressed by the host do not represent views of the families or sponsors of this program. In the U.S., there are over 600,000 missing person cases reported each year. Many go unnoticed by the general public and are not covered by the media or investigated by law enforcement. Here is just one of these stories. From Grim Media, I'm your host, Steve Stone, and this is the Grim Truth Podcast. Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 31 of the Grim Truth Podcast. I'm your host, Steve Stone. Thank you for joining us. Before we get into today's video, if you want to support the missing and the murdered, subscribe to the Grim Truth Podcast YouTube channel. Hit that notification bell so you never miss an episode. Leave us a like, a comment, support the channel. If you want your voice a part of the voiceless, subscribe to this channel. If you're interested in the missing and the murdered and you want to help, the best way to do that is to help us here on the podcast channel. So subscribe, like, comment, share. We want to get you involved in what we do here, and that's the best way to do it. So let's get into today's episode. Andrew DeWeese. When I did the programming for the first quarter of this year, I said that there was enough information to do a second podcast on Andrew. As a matter of fact, there's enough to do an entire series on Andrew. But we were trying to let law enforcement do their job because we fought so hard for law enforcement to get involved and to do their job. And quite frankly, I'm not impressed with law enforcement and their job. And we're going to get into all of that. And we're going to get into the reasons why. But we also want to come with the truth. We also want to show you the hypocrisy, the bullshit, the lies, we want to take the blinders off. Because honestly, if we're going to be honest, and everybody asks me, when are we going to get justice for Andrew? Well, the only time that's really going to happen is if somebody, other than the witnesses that we have and the affidavits that we have, somebody needs to go, that person did it. That person did it. That person did it. And stand up. And we're going to talk about that today. But I have heard of this video, and I remember seeing it now. I made a mention that I don't think I'd seen it, and I had it, and I've watched this a dozen times, and I want to talk about it because this case, and I don't give a shit what you say, this case, Andrew's case, has everything to do with this person right here.
What's up? So we're live in Dallas, Texas.
Oh my God.
We missed 2 flights.
Yeah.
3
This
flights.
is the third one.
Third flight. We telling everybody about Andrew DeWeese. He's still missing. We can't find him nowhere in Arkansas. We are still in Dallas, Texas, down here spreading the word about baby Drew. Asking everybody.
Now, we'll get back to that in a minute. Was Andrew DeWeese in Texas? No. Did anybody, like Andrew go to Texas? No. Did anybody of his friends, did any of his so-called friends think that he was, on a walkabout like the Australians do and just decided he was going to go to Texas? No. See, Andrew was an absconder, yes. And Andrew didn't like to go to jail. No, that's all true. But he would have gone to jail. But I don't want to focus on that. I want to focus on this drivel right here. She seems happy, right? If she was on a quest to find Drew. Seriously? Seriously. This is the quest for Drew. Right here. Are you fucking kidding me? Let's watch more of this, because I'm totally intrigued.
Asking everybody for prayers and to keep him in their prayers, man.
At all times.
I've talked.
Keep us in your prayers. Look at us. We done missed 3 flights.
Yeah, keep us in your prayers, because obviously we
And we're
can't
going
get
to
nowhere.
Hollywood. Come on now, really? We're going to be
So we're super excited about going to Hollywood. We're still spreading the word about
Networking.
Andrew. Network, baby. Put it online. Put it on the internet. Share our posts. We are looking for you, Drew. Like, please.
Now, there's a little bit left of that horse shit that I'm just going to play the entirety because I have to. But they want to go to Hollywood. What the fuck's in Hollywood? Andrew DeWeese isn't in Hollywood. He's not in Texas. And what it appears, and this is fucking disgusting. And I am being as frank and as honest. And this is not a safe for work kind of thing to watch. And I'll make sure we put the disclaimer in front. But Nicole is doing what Nicole wants to do, and which is always what Nicole wants to do, is all about Nicole, right? Her posts it's about, oh, I miss you. I pray. You don't look the slightest bit fucking concerned about Andrew DeWeese is. And, you know, when I did his first podcast, I did it on the audio. And now that I can do it here, well, I'm going to have a fucking field day with this. Like, and I don't know who that other person is, but she's a moron too. And they don't look overly concerned about where Andrew DeWeese is. They're spreading the word. To who in California knows Andrew DeWeese? No. This is calculating on her part, in my humble opinion, because this is going to show a pattern of behavior that we're going to discuss today. Her behavior. Because she doesn't care about anybody else. She never has. Andrew DeWeese is a means to an end for people. You know? Everybody can get on his page or the missing persons page and they can say all the happy fucking horse shit they want. Unicorns and rainbows and I miss you. But none of you have done shit for Andrew. No one's done anything for Andrew. No one. There are a handful of people that, and I will admit that we've networked with people that actually do care, but they have a reason why they're in the shadows. We're going to get to that here in a minute too. But let's finish playing this stupid video of this stupid girl and her stupid friend pretending to look for Andrew DeWeese.
Drew, like, please come home.
That's not the for.
Also, we are on the way back to the airport. We're outside the hotel just chilling.
And if you're in our area, hit me up if you know what's up. Won't it? Shit. For real.
Hey,
Dallas,
guys.
Texas, the airport, hit us up if you're in our area, if you know what's up. Read the comments, see if anybody's in our area.
Please don't forget to say prayers for Drew and Ober. So, all right, we're getting off here. We love you guys. Thanks for watching.
So, there's that video. And as you see in the video, you know, she's completely out of her mind. And she's running this fake mirage searching for Andrew type gimmick that's not working well for her at all. And to be quite honest, as meticulous and as thoughtful this was for her, you know, woohoo, we're partying and we're having a good time. Oh, but hey, we're looking for baby Drew. He's where you left him in Arkansas. That's where he is. That's where he was. And you knew that. And and you constantly lie all the time. Like, my job is to start conversations and to tell the truth. Now, everybody can look at that video and realize, and whether they're sober or not, can look at that video. There is not an ounce of, you were his girlfriend at the time. Or was there something else going on? We're going to get to that. Because here's a part that nobody knows yet. We're going to get to that in just a second. But I wanted to show everybody this video. And the video quality sucks because they were probably using some throwaway phone that was shit and it didn't work. But Nicole is calculating here. She really is. And we'll get to Tiffany and everybody else in a minute. But we're going to mainly focus on Nicole. Because Nicole has secrets. And I know her secrets. The great thing about doing what I do is I actually networked. You were networking. You were doing a tweaker version of Thelma and Louise, which got awful, by the way. And you purposely did what you did because you wanted to get away while the dust settled. Because by this point, there's no hope for Andrew. You were the only hope he had. But it's all about Nicole. It's always about Nicole. Nicole has to come first. As long as it doesn't hurt Nicole, that's why you got out of Dodge. We'll get back to that in a minute. But I also want to talk about this femur bone. And there has always been a story about a femur bone from a missing person in Arkansas that just so happened to be burnt. So if you look at this, and I'm only going to read, I'm not reading the whole thing, I'll leave it up here for you to read. This young man put this out there and said, hey, babe mama, if you would please trust me for once, please stay the fuck out of Perryville. I was handed a human femur bone that was burnt. Could not be much older than a year, I figure. Thought about not saying anything. Thought about going to the police, but it seems, what good would that do? So this is public information now, and everyone can read this. This is a really fucked up thing to open up about. But the girl who handed me the femur bone is a loose end for sure. I'm not going to law enforcement like most think I should, or would or should. Not a chance. But I believe she said something about 2 femurs and 1 shoulder. And then he says, fuck you, Rhonda, whoever you are. If you wanted a secret to be kept about a homicide of a young missing man from last summer. And he goes on. Now, all the information that we've had was that Andrew was, I just want to go over this again, and I'm rehashing it not because I like to. I've seen photos, I've seen things that I'm kind of to the point where I'm desensitized by what humans do to other humans, but we must go through this so you guys understand something. Andrew suffered a horrific death. He was chased, beaten, tortured, murdered, cut up, dismembered, burned, disposed of. That's what happened to Andrew. And then we have this. Just imagine, while this is going on, there's this.
Telling everybody about Andrew DeWeese. He's still missing. We can't find him nowhere in Arkansas. We are still in Dallas, Texas, down here spreading the word about baby Drew, asking everybody for prayers and to keep him in their prayers, man.
At all times.
Keep
us in your prayers. Look at us. We missed 3 flights.
Yeah, keep us in your
prayers too, because we missed 3 flights. Oh, please remember that this is about Andrew and our thoughts and prayer. Nicole is a calculating individual. Nicole is all about Nicole. So let's talk about that for a minute. There's a story that has percolated throughout the year that we've been working on this case, and that is there was another individual who Nicole had dealings with who was set up, robbed, and he's no longer with us. But here's the facts of the case. This isn't slander. This is a fact. It's a matter of public record. Nicole is a criminal. She has a habit, and in order to get that habit taken care of, she's got to acquire money and funds. And instead of working a job, she has to rob people, breaking and entering. She's done this before. This is nothing new. So if this is a pattern, let's set up the pattern. So there's this individual who was a boyfriend at the time, who's no longer with us. And I'm not talking about Andrew. There is also a story that's going out there that she likes robbing people, including a woman who her and another male suspect beat, stole her phone, and took marijuana. Again, this is setting up a pattern. But when it relates to Andrew, here's the kicker. Here's what people may not know. Everybody knows that Andrew got into a fight with his brothers. That is a fact. Andrew got into a fight with his brothers, but Andrew's brothers didn't kill Andrew. No. Think about it, folks. Think about it. Elijah, Andrew's brother, shot a black man, right? Goes to this black man who he just shot in self-defense, possibly. We don't know. That I don't know anything more than what I'm telling you. And called 911, prayed with that man, went to jail. He didn't kill Andrew. Back to Nicole. Days before Andrew went missing, there's this. She was telling several people that Drew got violent and he was angry with her and went to her family's house with a gun. Now, why would Andrew go looking for Nicole? Could it be this mysterious book bag of dope and money that supposedly was ripped off by Nicole and Drew was taking the blame for it? Or he was there when it happened? Or many of the other different stories that everyone's heard about. But here's the kicker. So after this happens, she's heard saying to several people that some people are going to mess him up for making these threats. They're going to kill him. So was this the plan all along, Nicole? Was this the plan? Drugs are a big deal in Arkansas. Oh my God. I don't know what's going on in Arkansas, but I've got so many cases in Arkansas right now. It's not even funny. And some of them are related. We're going to talk about that in a minute. Nicole is numero uno. She is the beginning and the end, the alpha and the omega in this case. There are others involved. And that's the problem with Andrew's case. No one speaks up. Everybody's double dipping. Enter Tiffany. Now, last week, Tiffany wanted to call me out and tell me I was an attention whore. I'm only doing this for likes, and I'm all in it for the money. I go broke doing this, folks. It ain't about the money. It's about the truth. My podcast is called The Grim Truth. Sometimes the truth is ugly, but it's the truth. Like Andrew's case. Andrew was murdered and set up over dope and money. It was in over his head. He trusted people, and those people killed him. Flat out. That's it. And many people know all of this. You can say that you're talking to the cops, but when you're double dipping, You're talking to the very same people who know what happened to Andrew. Everybody has an opinion. So let's talk about the people that have an opinion, shall we? There's a gentleman that goes by the name of Coon. Please, if you're watching this, that is not my racial slur. That's just what he goes by. And then James Booker. These two have a lot to say about what happened to Andrew. They have theories. They know for a fact that there is a reason why this case will, well, at least James Booker does. He believes that there is a 100,000% reason why this case will never seek justice. That it's one big cover-up, and that these weren't affiliated boys that killed Andrew. No. These were unaffiliated. They weren't affiliated, unaffiliated. Now I tried talking to this guy, and he was a little chatty, but he knows. And listen, you know, if you're gonna get yourself involved in this case and you're too cowardly to come forward and say something, I honestly don't give a shit what happens to you. I really don't. You know, stop if you're talking about it, but you need to be talking about it to the right people. Because I want to tell you something, ladies and gentlemen. Any one of you right now involved, that not even involved, you might not even seen Andrew, but you're talking about it, or you knew Andrew and are talking about it. Do you think these fucking people are going to do the same thing that they did to Drew to you? Oh, you bet your sweet ass. If you're a loose end, yeah, sure is. And if you know something, man, you got problems. You got problems. You can't trust these people. Look what they did to Andrew. You can't trust them. So back to the investigation. There's a lot of back and forth about this investigation and why things are not getting taken care of. And there's this cartel. The cartel is behind the reason why there's no justice. The cartel is paying off the police, and this is why nothing's getting done. And several other cases like Andrew DeWeese's have been stuffed underneath the rug because the drugs are flowing into Arkansas, and it is this cartel that's keeping the cops' pockets lined with money. And this is why this case doesn't go any further than it has. I hope that's not the case. I really don't. I believe in justice. All my years in law enforcement, and my whole job in law enforcement was drugs. I worked in the worst neighborhoods that you can possibly imagine, where street cops wouldn't go because you needed to bring 10, 15, 20 deep, right? And I know how the drug business works. I know how, the turf war goes, and there are cops out there that are bad. No question. There are cops that look the other way. No question. It's not popular to be a cop these days, and Arkansas, I do not know what's going on down there, but in Arkansas, there seems to be a different kind of culture down there. And at the end of the day, with these people know about this, but they're not talking about Andrew. No. They're not talking about Andrew to people that it matters. And there are people out there that matter that will help Drew's case. But you have to make effort. But Tiffany, for example, she constantly hems and haws about how I ruined her life. Doesn't take responsibility for her actions. I didn't put the pipe in your hand. I didn't tell you to get involved with the people that know what happened to Drew. I didn't do that. You did that. That's not on me. I sleep well at night. That's not my problem. That's your problem. Going back to these guys that know about Drew. Let's talk about. I have no problem talking about these guys, but let's talk about James. I talked to James and I'm too clean to mess with. Too clean to mess with. I guess you got to be certain kind of dirty to mess with people, and these Aryans. These Aryans that are talked about an awful lot, Mr. Booker believes that none of these guys were affiliated. Does it really matter anymore? From what I hear goes on back in them woods, it really don't matter whether people get their patch taken off, put back on. You're playing leapfrog. It's the methed out version of Deliverance. It doesn't matter. What does matter is Andrew's case. And Andrew's case is not necessarily unsolvable, because it is, and it will be. But there's a problem with the trust in law enforcement. Which brings me to our new mission. I believe that Andrew's missing persons case and homicide is not an outlier. It's not the only case that involves drugs, murder, and Savannah Elliott, who was 17 years of age, found in the Hollow Wildlife Reserve. William Matthew McCabe, who, went missing. People believe that this is related. I am trying to work with an individual, and we think we can prove that these are all in a sense related, not serial killer related, though. Don't misunderstand, but related into a larger deal. And if we can prove that these cases are more than just people getting pecked off because they're in the wrong place at the wrong time, we can get federal agencies involved, and that will change the tide. And finally, when I say change the tide, I'm going to change the tide in this case too. Starting today, you have 2 weeks. I am offering a substantial reward for Andrew's remains. And I'm not talking about a place to look. I've got plenty of those. I've turned those in. But I think it's time to stop pussyfooting around and get to the brass tacks. I'm a man of action. I believe in doing things, not talking about them. So let's just talk business. I am offering a substantial reward, and I'm not telling you how much I'm offering because this isn't the fucking lottery. This is about Andrew DeWeese. I am offering a substantial reward, not only for the location of his remains, but his remains, and I want proof of them. You're going to have to earn this money. You're going to have to earn what I'm willing to offer you. But there's more. I'm not just offering you an opportunity to make money. I'm also offering you a chance of a new life to start over. The only way there's going to be justice for Drew or any of these poor souls that have lost their lives in Arkansas because of idiots like Nicole and the people she associates with, and the drug business, the cartel, NAE, war, whatever the fuck you want to call them, whoever it is getting the fuck out of Arkansas, starting a new life, and coming forward with the truth. Brave people have come forward, and that's how we know so much. But it's going to take even braver people. Things that you think you would never do before. And I've talked to so many brave people that have literally, that are scared. And I get it. I don't live there, and I get being scared. I do. I used to put on a gun every day and go to work. So, yeah, I understand scared. You'd be crazy if you weren't. But I want you to think just for one moment Just for one tiny moment. And think about Andrew. Imagine yourself getting the shit kicked out of you for no reason. Not a real reason. And you're looking up at the people beating you as you're trying to protect yourself. What was going through his mind? Is anybody going to come and help me? Did I say goodbye to this person? Did I say I love you to this person? As he's being beaten. As he's being murdered. As they're doing things to someone that you wouldn't possibly do to a fucking dog. Imagine that. Think about that. When you're thinking about if you want to help, think about Andrew looking up and maybe seeing a little sunlight and begging God to help him. Begging for mercy. Pleading for his life. Because that's what happened. Someone's got to step up. And no, this is not a fucking game. And no, this is not, theatrics. This is what fucking happened. And it takes brave people to stand up to evil. What happened to Andrew is pure evil. But it can stop today. If you're interested in taking me up on this offer, you can email me, stevestone@thegrimtruth.com. You can get a hold of me on Messenger @thegrimtruth, on the Grim Truth Podcast Facebook page. But the last thing I would say before we sign off today is think long and hard about the people you associate with, about these so-called ride or die guys that you're with or not with, affiliated, not affiliated with, dirty enough to mess with, too clean to mess with, whatever the case may be. Think about Andrew. Think about, are you secure enough in your relationships with your friends that what happened to Andrew won't happen to you? I wouldn't bet on it. Andrew didn't think that. And he's dead. He's gone. And now I'm just trying to bring him home. I want to thank you for tuning in to episode 31, Andrew DeWeese Part 2. We are going to continue to work this case, follow this case. We're not going to stop. So if you think we're just going to sit here and give up, and that's not going to happen. We are going to continue working this case and many, many others in Arkansas coming up in the near coming weeks and months this year. We have a lot of cases. We have so many cases. Eric Lane, Ashton Blake Campbell. There's so many other things that are going on that we're a part of. And we're going to be working Savannah's case. And we're going to be working William Matthew McCabe's case. And so many others. Again, I want to thank you guys for tuning into episode 31 of the Grim Truth Podcast. Again, if you're interested in being a voice for the voiceless and the missing and the murdered, subscribe to the podcast. Hit that notification bell so you never miss an episode of the podcast. And remember, we will be a voice for the voiceless in search of the truth. I'm Steve Stone, and this has been the Grim Truth Podcast.